So welcome to your practice, and do grab 2 blocks. You could have a strap nearby, sticky mat, and it's always a nice idea to have a piece of furniture nearby, either a folding chair or a piece of furniture that you could use for some balance, although we're not going to do a balanced focused practice today. And then let's just begin. If you're in a seat, let's begin just checking in. Okay, so either bringing hands to heart center, one palm over the other, or in a prayer orientation. If you're on your back already, you could stay there, but just checking in with what is important to you, what really matters. Stripping away some of the periphery, some of the external things, and really looking inside for what really matters to you. And letting that be a guide for your practice on the mat and off the mat. And then continuing to drop out of your head, travel that 17 or so inches into your heart. Down through the spaces in your body, the canyons, the open spaces in your body. Till you really feel like you are resting in your physical body. You are present in your body. And then slowly just blink your eyes open, lift your gaze, and make your way over to your mat or onto your back. If you're sitting right there at your mat, make your way onto your back. And just stack your knees over your hips to begin with, arms out to the side, and have your knees pretty wide. And then just begin to rock from side to side, bringing the knees and the hands together as you rock side to side. Big movement, lots, almost every part of the body kind of moving here. Your head can sort of loll from one side to the other. Just close your eyes, maybe scanning how the pelvis area, the hips feel, low back, shoulders, neck. And then the next time your knees fall over to the left, keep them stacked there. Rest your right palm on your left hand and slide your right hand across your chest, open up, bring it back. And do this a couple of times. Just slide your right hand across your body and open up into a twist. Come back. Almost like stroking. Actually, you could, a very light touch on the left arm, stroking the lymphatic system, and then resting in a twist. So right arm out, gaze up at the ceiling, and then can you imagine your right ribs sort of reaching down towards the floor? right ribs reaching down towards the floor. Take 2 rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, top leg comes up, and you just begin that rocking back and forth again. So going back and forth, big movement, almost like you're a dead bug, and you got your last couple rolls here as you go back and forth. A lot of movement, and then your knees will come over to the right. Left hand resting on the right, and slide, just gently touching your right arm as you come across your chest and open up. Reach back over, do that a few times, lightly touching your right arm, and that will sort of stimulate the lymphatic system, our immune system gatekeeper, right? Want that to be nice and strong. And then the next time your left arm comes out to the left, stay in the twist, and then let your left ribs kind of float towards the floor. So relax. You're just letting go right here. This is kind of how we're going to flow today. We're going to do a little bit of flow, and then a little bit of holding, and then a little bit of flow, and then a little bit of holding. So one more full breath here. Great. Then inhale, top leg up, and now stack both knees over your hips again, arms out wide, and now just move your knees back and forth, but don't let them go to the floor. So you're going to feel, knees are a little closer together now, about hip distance apart, and you're going to feel your obliques holding you, keeping you from letting your knees drop all the way. So back and forth. And then you could take your knees around. So without the hands, knees around in a circle. So coming in, out to one side, out a little ways. So engagement in the core. Reverse the circling. Great. And then come back to center. Take your left leg long to the mat and squeeze your right knee in. Right knee in towards your chest. And then reach your right leg up in the air, point your toes. And then exhale, bend your right ankle and bend your knee in towards your chest. And then just repeat that. So you can change sort of the plane of your legs. You could go out to the right, go a little further towards your toes. But coordinate your breath and your movement. Okay, so kind of more or less straight up. And then we're going to start to take the leg across midline, point your toes, back to center, out to the right, point your toes. Bend your knee across midline. Scoot your knee back in, across, out to the right. So go back and forth, coming across your midline and then out to the right. And you'll be moving back and forth. You'll be moving side to side on your hips. Have a little, obliques working here. Okay, and then the next time you come out to the right, you're going to let that leg rest. You can bend your left knee as you need, and you could even rest your right leg on a block, trying to make that happen without getting up. All right, so like a Supta Padangusthasana. If it's okay to rest on the floor, you can take your leg all the way to the floor. You could straighten your left leg if that feels okay in your body. I like the left leg bent here. All right, and just take another full breath here, letting everything go. Next inhale, you bend the right knee, bring the right knee back to your chest, come across your body, and left leg straight or a little bit bent, right? And then you're in a twist again. Settle your right ribs down towards the floor. And then on your next inhale, bend your right knee up towards your chest, roll back to the starting position. Now right leg comes to the floor. You extend through your left leg, pointing your toes, and then bend the knee, bring the knee in towards your chest and flex at your ankle, and then just start to go back and forth with that. So working hip, knee, and ankle joint all together, nice long line here. And then you can just begin to maybe change the angle of your leg a bit, take it a little bit more towards the short end of your mat. Great. Then the same thing, you're going to draw across midline. So you roll onto your right hip and you come back to center and then out to the left. And move back and forth with this movement. Great. Notice if you're what you're doing with your right leg. There should be some engagement in the right leg, but I just noticed like I had my right toes curled up, right? So sort of this sympathetic action in my right leg helping my left leg. And next time you come out to the left, you can rest your left leg long to the side, bend the right knee if that facilitates a little bit more ease. And take a couple of rounds of breath here. You could also be resting your left leg on a block. Notice where the lengthening is happening. Great. And then it's inhale, bring the left knee up towards your chest. Go over to the opposite side. So you have to straighten your right leg and let your left leg come over. And rest. Crossing midline, another little twisting action here. Great. Come back to center. And now take the soles of your feet to the floor, about hip distance apart. Inhale to draw your pubic bone away from your navel, press into your feet, sweep your hips up in the air and your arms behind you. And then roll everything back down. Leave the arms behind you on the floor, backs of your hands on the floor, and then sweep your arms back to your sides. And then repeat that. Getting nice height through the hips and then rolling down one vertebra at a time. Then sweeping the arms back in place. Pressing up. Feel your glutes engaged. Good. And rolling down one vertebra at a time, sweeping your arms back to your sides. Lift up. This time you could lift your toes and draw your heels back isometrically and feel your hamstrings engaging. And draw your knees away from your hips isometrically as you roll down. Really get a lot of length through your spine. Come back to the starting position. And take a few more rounds of this. Just a few more rounds here. And the next time you come back down to the floor, we'll rest here for just a moment. Rest your knees together. Let your low back really settle and widen, broaden, like you're melting butter. Then separate the knees again, and this time we'll have arms down by our sides, palms down. And draw your pubic bone away from your navel, press into your heels, lift your hips as you bring your right arm behind, turn your head to the left. And then as you roll down, come back down to the starting position, hips and hand landing about the same time. Come down, inhale, draw pubic bone away from navel, lift your hips, reach your left arm behind and turn your head to the right. And then back, down. Good, so maybe 3 or 4 times on each side, coordinating the turning of your head with the reaching back with your arm, and then coordinating the return to the starting position, eyes up towards the ceiling, hands come back down to the starting position. Find a nice rhythm here. Find the appropriate amount of effort and ease for you for your practice right now. And then the next time you come down, hips down, hands down, reach your legs long, let your feet fall out, turn your palms up, 2 rounds of breath in the Shavasana shape, just 2 rounds of breath. Great, then stack knees over hips and take your hands back down to the mat, palms down. And you're just going to slide your hands down the mat as you lift your head and shoulders, right? So you'll feel the front of the core engaging, and then slide back down, come down, back down to resting. Lift, tuck your chin, reach your hands towards the bottom short end of your mat, and then lower back down and repeat a few times. There we go. Just sliding the hands. Okay, so the hands are on the mat sliding, and now we're going to change the position of the arms. So bring your palms in and reach, so the hands are off the mat about a foot. So reach through your hands, slide back down, or roll back down, reach up. And then slide on the outsides of your legs. So feel how that changes the position of the shoulder blades, and then roll back down. So your hands are on the outsides of your shins, and you'll slide down your shins and come back to the starting position and slide back down. Now, if it's too much on your neck, just go ahead and interlace your hands behind your head and rest your head in your hands. Keep your elbows wide as you curl up. And now begin to bring the knees in towards the chest and then back out. And the knees in towards the chest, elbows stay wide, back out. So everyone's lifting now with the hands interlaced behind the head, back out. And you're just lifting head and shoulders, okay? And now this time as you lift, just lift straight up towards the ceiling. Knees stay hovering over the hips. And instead of rounding towards your knees, it's like your nose is being pulled up to the ceiling, and you'll feel that in a different place in your abdominals. Elbows stay wide. Elbows stay wide. Lifting the nose up towards the ceiling. Good, stick with it here. We'll get a little rest in a sec. And then now keep your left elbow on the floor and rise up right elbow towards left knee, but keep your elbows wide. Then back down. And then right elbow stays on the floor. And as you curl up, left elbow or left shoulder towards right knee, back down. So keeping the elbows wide, and now using the obliques, right elbow on the floor, twist towards the right knee with the left shoulder. Keep the elbows wide as you go back and forth. Yep, you got it. Keep going. Keep going. Good. And then next time you come back down to the floor, release. Take your legs long. You could put a block underneath your sacrum or just come into a Shavasana shape again. And allow yourself to relax. Let go. Tuck your chin in towards your chest so back of the neck is nice and long. Great. Good stuff. And then roll onto your left side and bend your left elbow and take your head in your hand. Okay. Same action we did on the ground when we were laying on our back. We're gonna tuck the right heel towards your buttocks. Right. You can use your right hand for balance here, and then come forward like you're kicking a football. Right, and then behind you, and then in front. So you get this nice big hip swing. Swinging the leg through your hip. Tucking the right heel up towards your buttocks as you come back, and then straightening the leg like you're kicking a football coming forward. Good. All right. Good. Keep that going. And then come to hovering the right leg over the left leg. You still have your head resting on your hand, but now you're going to bring your forearm down to the floor. You'll use your top hand to help. So now your forearm is on the mat, lined up with the short edge of your mat, and really press your forearm into the floor so your shoulder is out of your ear. And then your legs are in a nice straight line, stacking heels. Lift your top leg. Lift your top leg. Bend through your top knee. Bend your top knee. Take your peace fingers on your big toe and extend. Find your balance here. And then you can vinyasa that. Now, if you don't have quite the openness in your hamstring, you could take a TheraBand or belt to the sole of the arch of your right foot. But here we go. Now we're going to find Vrksasana and really draw your low waist, the bottom side of your waist, draw it away from the floor. So put a lot of energy in here. Stack your arms. Whoop, whoop. If you feel yourself falling out, find your balance again. So the balance is your balance will be easier if you really draw the low waist away from the floor. And then the leg that's stretched out long, the left leg, press your little pinky toe into the floor. Good. Now from here, bring your right hand down to the mat. Stretch your left arm long. So you're coming into more of a traditional Anatasana. And then take your right foot with your right hand and get a little bit of a stretch on the front of your thigh. And then can you let this be really passive? So just, you might even let your elbow relax towards the floor and your legs almost stacking here. Let it be a little bit more passive. Beautiful. Take 2 full breaths here. Great. Then release the top leg, roll into your belly. Make a little pillow with your hands. Reach through your legs, tops of the feet to the floor. And take a few easy back bends. So pressing up into a little bit of a back bend and then releasing back down. So draw your navel away from the floor, draw your belly button up and away from the floor. Press your pubic bone into the floor. And then the next time you're lifted up, swing your elbows underneath your shoulders so you're in Sphinx. Draw your shoulder blades down. Let your chin come towards your chest. Now see how much you can relax this, let this be a relaxing pose. So just enough effort to keep you upright, but let your chin come into your chest. And then you could take your chin right to left. Great, okay, we're gonna up the fierceness just a little bit. So now roll yourself, let yourself roll back down, bring your hands alongside your body, palms down, so the arms are in external rotation. Lift the heads of the arm bones up, lift the head and shoulders up, lift the legs, pointing your toes, pull your navel up away from the floor, squeeze your glutes together, the buttocks not clenching, but engaged for 3, 2, 1. Then you come down to the floor, turn one cheek or temple to the mat and let everything go. Feel your heart beat against the floor, your breath. Back to center, forehead to the floor. This time turn the palms up so the arms are in internal rotation. Reach your palms up towards the ceiling. You probably get a little more height this way. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders. Lift your legs, squeeze your legs together. See if you can get your ankles, your big toe mounds together or as close as possible. Keep lifting. Come on, keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting. And release. Turn the opposite cheek or temple to the mat and let everything go. Good. Next, inhale, come back to center. We'll do one more on each side. So you can continue with the first side. The first one is palms down, the next one is palms up, or you could bring your arms out to a T or out to a Y. So that increases the difficulty a little bit. You choose, but lift the head of the arm bones first, then the head and shoulders, then the legs, and squeeze everything. If you want to add something, you could take the legs wide apart and bring them back together. Take the legs wide apart and bring them back together. And you got it. Stick a little bit longer. 3, 2, 1, release. Let everything go. Feel the breath against the floor, your belly expanding against the floor. So we're stimulating the vagus nerve here. This is really good work for every single day. Back to center. Again, you can keep arms alongside your waist, out to a T or out in front. But lift the head of the shoulder, the humerus first. So you're lifting your shoulders away from the floor. Head and chest, legs flying. You got it. Stick with it. Lift a little higher. 3, 2, 1. Release to the opposite side. Let everything rest. Let everything rest. Very good. And then from here, you roll onto your right side. Just scoot my orientation around. So head is resting in your hand. All right, we'll do the same little vinyasa over here. So we're gonna bend the left knee, the left heel in towards the buttocks, and then kick out in front of us. So your a big swing of the leg, swinging action. Feel the work in your hip. Yep, got it, everyone. Yep. Good. And then we're gonna rest on the forearm, straighten the legs. All right, lift that top leg. So you can see, I can see myself right now, my ear, I'm slouching a bit. So I want to really press into the forearm and lift my side waist away from the floor. Bend your top knee, bring your foot in front of your body, and either with a strap or your fingers, take your big toes, your big toe. I'll just have one on that foot. And then you'll extend through the top leg and flex, and a little vinyasa here. And then you'll set that top foot in Vrksasana. So on the inside of your bottom leg thigh, pressing, see if you can pull up your bottom leg into the foot. So you're pulling up, you're pressing the inner leg into the foot into the inner leg. And then you could stack your arms. Oh, keep pressing into that forearm, really finding your good strength, your side waist working here. Press your pinky toe, the long leg, press that pinky toe, right? Should be on the right leg now. Press that pinky toe into the floor and draw your side waist up, 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 up. So really finding your balance with the strength of your core. Good. From here, roll back onto your belly. Find Sphinx again. Draw your navel up away from the floor. Draw your tailbone down towards your feet. Okay. Okay. Then just wing your hands out. So outside the edges of your mat, press and lift a little higher. I think this is called seal pose. So really pressing and lifting using the strength of your back. And then we're going to roll down nice and slow and come down, resting your hands on top of one another, your forehead on your hands, crocodile. And feeling your breath against the floor, your belly expanding, really stimulating the vagus nerve here. Three more rounds of breath. Just let yourself find some stillness here. Relax your shoulders. Great, now just lift your head up enough to bring your arms out in front of you in a Y. Lift your head and shoulders. Okay, so you're in a little back bend. Tops of the feet are into the floor. Bend your elbows and draw your elbows back in space, hovering your hands about where your shoulders are, and then place your hands down by your low ribs and press up to table. And then just begin to rock back and forth. Come all the way forward, so you're loading your wrists, and then go all the way back. Hips over the heels and all the way forward. You could add a little circular motion here. If you're circling around, take it in both directions. And then find neutral with your spine, neutral with your spine. Great. Then set your hips back on your heels and inhale, stand up on your knees, reach your arms overhead, palms face one another. So that's the external rotation of the arms. And stack your head over your diaphragm, over your pelvic bowl. Good. Then you're going to release your hands to your low back, stacking them at your low back, and bow down towards the mat. That's your exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, stack in the opposite orientation as you bow down towards the mat. And you're going to repeat that 6 to 8 times. Each time, change the orientation of your hands. And when you come up to standing, really draw the navel in. So, this can be something that's kind of painful the next day, but draw your navel in. Use the strength of your core to lift up, pressing your shins into the floor. The next time you come down to the floor, rest in child's pose. So you could bring your knees apart if that feels better to you. Arms can be out in front or beside you. But now take 3 rounds of breath and let everything in your back body expand. Get a little bit bigger, a little bit broader. You can always have a pillow or blanket between your thighs and your calves. But let this be a stillness, a still point. Then if you don't have your hands out in front, go ahead, reach your hands out in front, slide them towards your body and press up to table. Knees come back together if you've had your knees separated, and find neutral position in your tabletop. Inhale, come to cow, and exhale, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, as you round towards the ceiling, drop your forearms to the floor first. Feel that engagement in your triceps, then come all the way back to child's pose. Just a few rounds of this vinyasa. We do quite a bit. Inhale, come to cow. Exhale, press up and back, downward dog. Inhale, back down to cow. And as you round your back to exhale, draw your forearms down to the ground first, and then hips back. Couple more on your own. Good, we'll meet in table. And then once again, find neutral. So you could do a couple pelvic tilts here and then find neutral. Good. Vinyasa, next vinyasa. Inhale, right arm up. Twisting to the right, and then exhale, come underneath and reach over to the left, hover, and repeat. So you'll vinyasa 4, 5, 6 times. Notice the tendency, either we're kind of one of two styles. We want to keep moving, always vinyasa, or we want to come to the holding. So take 5, 6 rounds before you hold, and then eventually you'll bring your right arm underneath, slide it over as far as possible, resting on your right side of your head. Left hand can come forward or rest on your sacrum or bind, taking the right leg. But now find some stillness here as we lengthen, open the outside of the right shoulder. 2 rounds, 3 rounds of breath. So the newsletter, today's class was, the association was like thinking about melting. So it's springtime, the snow is melting, snow melts, the ice is melting on the creeks. So think about that melting, ice to water, as we do these holds. Good. If you have your left hand behind you, bring it by your face, press up. Take a couple of rounds of cat-cow before you move on, just to come back to some symmetry. And then inhale the left arm up. You're going to get a little twist there, and then you reach underneath the right, which as far as you can, hover, and repeat. So the movement is what helps us to get to that place where we can have the melting. Next time you reach your left arm under, you'll come down to the left side of your head. Right arm can come forward to your sacrum, your low back, or you can bind, reaching for the left, inside the left leg. Maybe this side, probably this side feels different, does in my body. Particularly if you're right-handed, you might have a little bit more trouble binding. Maybe a little tighter in that side of your body, the right side of your body. Let's see if you can find some melting here, some real letting go. Maybe it means backing off. And then the right hand comes beside your head, press up. Find your table again, and a few rounds of cat-cow. Great. And then you can take your blocks, if you don't already have them right up at the front of your mat. Go ahead and set them up there at the front of your mat on any height. And standing on your knees, we'll bring right foot forward, coming to the blocks, turn the back toes under, and we'll move back and forth into a pyramid shape, and then forward into a low lunge. You could have your hands on the blocks, or you could have your hands on the floor, and just moving, working in ankles, knees, hips, back, low back, shoulders. Good. The next time you come forward into the lunge, sweep the right arm up, and then forward, then back as you straighten the front leg. And then forward again, come into the lunge, turn to the right, come up, then hand down to the block. Bring your back foot in a little closer, straighten your front leg, and bow into this pyramid shape. Okay, very good. Then draw your hips back as you release your front foot back, come into a short downward dog, and bend and extend through each leg. Bring your left foot forward between the blocks. Turn the back toes. Here we go. Spin to your left. Then bring your left hand forward. Then sweep the left hand back as you straighten the leg. Bend through your front leg, bring your left hand forward again. Hand down to the block. And now just back and forth. Low lunge, pyramid shape, low lunge, pyramid shape. Good. Then bring the back foot up slightly and hold in this pyramid shape. Draw your left hip back in space. Stay with it. Another breath. Good. Release the front leg. Short downward dog stance. Okay, short downward dog stance. And then to the best of your ability, one block out of the way, hands to the floor, other block out of the way, hands to the floor. Now lengthen through your downward dog. Bend your elbows out to the side, scoop them in, re-straighten the arms. Pull muscle to bone on your legs, and let this downward dog be a resting downward dog. Doesn't mean you're not engaged, but just let it be a resting downward dog. Head is loose and relaxed. Reach your heels towards the floor. And your sit bones up and back of your legs pressing towards the back of your space. Great. Now walk your feet up towards your hands. Drop your hips back, reach your hands forward, coming into a squat, and then release to a forward fold. And then inhale back to a squat, and release to a forward fold. And your hands back out in front, drop the hips, squat, and then release to a forward fold. Couple more times. Now your last forward fold is your resting one. So if you want your blocks, you have your blocks. And let your head go, let your head be relaxed. And come into a forward fold here for 3 rounds of breath. Great. Good job. Bend through your knees, hands to your hips. Press up to standing. Find Tadasana. Close your eyes here. Just take a few rounds of breath. And then feet at least hip distance apart. Interlace your fingers behind your head. And you inhale here, and on the exhale, side bend, hips and hands go in the opposite direction. Look over towards the side the hip is pointing out, the hip pointing outside, and then come back to center and press your hands away, your hips in the opposite direction. Look over towards, away from the hands. Yeah. Come back and forth a few times there. Once you've done an even number, just let the arms swing free. You could bounce the heels here, or just let your hips move back and forth. Just get a lot of, this is all fascial system, right? Just get a lot of good free movement. And then widen your stance. Long edge of the mat. Pick the right heel up. Turn it in, set it down, pick the toes up, turn them out, pick the back heel up, set it out, find Trikonasana legs, front leg is straight, and then just slide down your leg with your right hand, and to come up, really press into your big toe mound. So just starting to tease, sliding down, press into your big toe mound to come back up. And then, if you can, find a resting point. So find your hand, right hand on your shin or on your thigh, and stack your left arm. Reach your left arm up, 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 up. Really lengthen this whole left side waist. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Relax your head. Good. From here, you bend through the front knee, sweep through warrior two. Straighten your front leg, bring your feet to be parallel to one another, hands above your head, and let your hands float through heart center. Down to your sides. Nice. So now, pick up the right heel, turn it out. Pick up the left heel, and then turn your left heel in, pick up your toes, turn your toes. So now you're back in Trikonasana on the other side. Open up your stance to any comfortable place, and then just begin to slide your left hand down your leg. Just beginning to, we're working obliques a little bit more, and we're teasing into a little bit of this hamstring stretch. When you go down, can you feel for pressing your big toe mound into the floor to lift back up? And then find a good comfortable spot, stack the right shoulder, reach the right hand up. That might lift you up a little bit, might not be as deep a Trikonasana as you are accustomed to. That's okay. We're really opening this whole right line here. Relax your head. Good. Then bend through the front knee, coming into warrior two, just momentarily. Then you turn the front leg, reach the arms overhead, and float hands through center. Now, your blocks are handy, hopefully still. You're in a big wide stance. Turn the heels out just a little bit. Feel the work in the inner thighs here. We're in a little bit of internal rotation with the legs. Hands to hips. Reach up through your crown of your head and then fold. Hands either to the floor or to a block or a set of blocks. Good. Bend through the right knee and walk your hands over to your right side. Left hand in front of the right foot, right hand on your hip. Got that? Now straighten your right leg any amount and come into a twist. You could stack your arms and reach up through the right hand. Notice the left foot. If the left foot has lifted away from the floor, really press down in the outer edge of your left foot. Outer edge of left foot. Bend your right knee. Walk your hands back through center. Bend the left knee. Bring both hands over. Right hand in front of the left foot. Left hand on your hip. Straighten the left leg any amount. And if it's okay for this shoulder, stack your left hand, your left shoulder over your right by reaching the arm straight up in the air. And now reach for the ceiling with your left hand. What's happening to your right foot? Press your outer right heel down. Outer right heel stays down. Good. Bend through the left leg, come back to center. Here's where you might want both your blocks. So if you can, get your head to a block of the floor or a set of blocks. So everything's connected. Feet, hands are on the ground, and your head is on the ground. or on blocks. And now, find stillness here. Find some, there's just enough effort to keep your legs strong, your balance, but you're really letting everything go. 3 more rounds of breath, friends. 3 more rounds of breath. Okay, and then whatever you need to do with your hands, you're going to lift your head. Maybe the hands come forward a little bit. Heel toe in slightly, and then come into a squat, big squat with the hands. You'll have to decide how much width you want through your feet. But come into a big squat with arms inside legs, legs inside arms. What? Arms inside legs, legs pressing into arms. That'd be weird. And just, just allowing this to happen. Can you relax now? Can you relax your hips down, 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 down. Relax. You might have a block underneath your buttocks. And if you do, you'll just come to resting on that block. If you don't have a block, let yourself come all the way to the floor now. All right, and then from here, let yourself roll down or assist yourself in rolling down to the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. And then hands behind your head. Open the knees out in Baddha Konasana. Arch your back away from the floor. And then draw everything in. Knees in together, elbows in together. Round everything up. Knees and elbows together. Then release your feet. Open into Baddha Konasana. Elbows out wide. Arch your back away from the floor. One more time. Really nice and slow and gentle and supportive. Good. Then knees back to the, feet back to the floor. Let's take a figure 4. And you could have this be really, really just a gentle figure 4 by just bringing your left ankle on your right knee or vice versa. Or you could pull the knees in towards your chest. But just find that sweet spot where you feel some sensation in your outer hip. And it's just enough to say, okay, I'm going to let that lengthen. I'm going to let that lengthen and relax. Lengthen and relax. So you could pull the knees in and then back off. And then just let everything go kind of still. And then you'll switch to your opposite side. Same thing. This could be where you just stay with your foot on the floor and the opposite ankle up on your knee. You could pull your knees into your chest. You sort of work that a little bit. Vinyasa, feel the lengthening, outer hip. And then find some real stillness or just a more relaxed version of your figure 4. We'll end in a twist, and the twist can be of your choice. So you could stay in the figure 4 and bring your knees over to the side of the leg that was up in the air. You could just stack your knees. But whatever your twist is, let gravity now just take your knees over to one side and let gravity move or pull on the opposite side rib cage, rib basket. Let it sort of melt down towards the floor. So really get that melting image. Give yourself at least 3 rounds of breath. Before you come back to center, maybe a couple of pelvic tilts to neutralize your spine, and then go do what you did on the first side on the second side. Your body is your best teacher. Really listen to your body. Generous listening. Compassionate listening. So in this other direction, twisting in the other direction, again, see if you can let your rib basket float down towards the floor. It's not going to come all the way to the floor in most of our bodies, but see if you can relax there and intention that. Now from here, you find your Shavasana. So coming back, finding a piece of furniture for your legs or the wall, or into a traditional Shavasana. Taking a block underneath your sacrum, you could find a resting or a relaxing bridge. You could supported bridge. You could go to supported shoulder stand. It's be curious and find out what feels nice in your body. But now let most of your effort go. So particularly if you're in traditional Shavasana, tuck the shoulder blades under, palms up. Let your feet fall out to the side. Lengthen the back of your neck. And let everything drop down. And keep that dropping down. Let everything drop down to the floor. Melting ice to water.